And there we go. So, game one of the semifinals match between TTV Emilya and why do I have them labeled as MS in the title? Am I stupid? Okay. Anyways, changing the title of the stream now versus MgmaCHEESE. Let's see what strategies these teams have come out with so far. So far, TTV Emilya has been kind of throwing away their bans, just banning champions at random, it seems.
And they do ban out Illusion, which hasn't necessarily been a pick we've seen in this tournament. But they might still keep up that trend. And now coming out from the red side, a very skillful champion. Gets to use the ranged attacks at times and melee form in combination. Makes it a much harder matchup for a lower ranked player necessarily to be able to play around both forms at once.
Yeah, it looks
you
like
also get a knife and ban as well.
TTV Emilya maybe just chucking away their bans again, not too worried. I'm giving the opponent team a chance.
It's also interesting to see that MgmaCHEESE do get the side that people have been favoring, being the red side of this tournament so far. The multiple teams yesterday specifically say that the red side is actually the favored side, just because of that last counter pick of being on red side can get you a very favorable matchup at times.
And we are going to see, interestingly enough, that it will be MgmaCHEESE banning away the Aurelia, which is a champion that they played. Decimate with his one trick Darius banned. We'll go back to the Mbessa. We saw him play that in round 2, had a dominant performance on it. Will be responded by the Volibear.
Also instantly locked in. They seem really confident in locking it in.
Yeah, interestingly,
and then they also pick up the Ziggs.
The Udyr is up and available for Freljord. Freljord has been on Udyr duty for these past few games that MgmaCHEESE has been playing. We'll have to see if they want to go back to that or not.
It's an extremely safe pick, and will be very much able to help him get through a rough laning phase. And then we see the aggressive Ahri and Echo both come out, massive roam potential. All three champions with massive amounts of dashes. Any skill shots that go their way, they should be able to dodge out on them now.
We've also seen a rise of the Echo roaming around. Pretty much, we've seen Echo pick 3 or 4 times, and almost every single time the Echo has been very active across the map, looking for dives, looking for that prio, looking for those ganks. So maybe a bit of a more active playstyle coming out from them. Meanwhile, on the other side, they'll round out their comp with a Camille. Going to be pretty good for locking down the Ahri and Echo into place. And of course, if she can get to 2-3 items, we'll start to win out against the Mbessa as well. So potentially not a terrible comp for MgmaCHEESE to be playing. But of course, they're fighting an uphill battle.
As you mentioned, it is an uphill battle, but they do have a lot of setup for this Ziggs. If the Ziggs can get to its free item core, and then get that Rabadon's, that ultimate has perfect setup in terms of the Volibear and Camille, so a lot of damage can come out in a very quick amount of time.
Yeah, the prediction is out if people want to bet their channel points on TTV Emilya on the blue side or MgmaCHEESE on the red side. So
also,
if you're MgmaCHEESE, if you're sitting in that call right now, and of course you know we're the underdogs here, we don't have very much of a say in what happens. What are you trying to do? What lane matchups do you think gives them the best chance of winning?
Personally, I feel like the Volibear is the best chance at going into any of the matchups, but the Camille is going to struggle a lot into the Ahri with this E available, so it might be better to put the Camille into the Echo, just because you can put the Ziggs into the Ahri and the Volibear should be fine into the Mbessa in terms of lane matchups. Also, their priorities might just be, we have this Ziggs, we are just going to try and roam towards this Ziggs and set it up. We have Volibear's shut off of the tower available to us. We might just avoid lane matchups as soon as we get past that 2-minute mark, just because we might get skill checked in the lane.
You know, of the 3 champions of that team, Ziggs, in my opinion, is the safest. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Freljord on the Ziggs, in which case, we'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll have to see if that's an easily punishable section of the map for for TTV Emilya. Somebody's confident in chat. We have 4,197 points placed on MgmaCHEESE. Whereas only 100 placed on TTV Emilya. So the expected winner, whoever put those 100 points there, might be looking at a big payout.
It will be interesting to see how aggressive these teams go on the runes. Obviously, the Demolish has fluctuated in priority across this tournament. Some teams go full Demolish lineup. Some teams have really only picked one character with it at times and tried to play around that lane specifically.
Yeah, in the first series that we saw today, pretty much nobody ran it. And then when people did run it, it had almost no impact. So definitely been falling off over the course of the tournament. At the beginning of the tournament, when there were some not as good teams, teams were able to take triple Demolish, bust open the games very quickly, but it seems like as the team pool is thinned out and the games have increased in quality, the Demolish finding less value than just going for pure laning runes.
Furthermore, the Hull Breaker instead in place of that Demolish has also risen in priority across the tournament. Being able to keep the minions alive for just a little bit longer seems to help push the minions into the turret, whereas with the Demolish, you might not be able to get control of the lane even if you have the rune. So if you don't get to the turrets, you don't get the use of the rune itself.
We'll be hopping into the game shortly here. And Sandstorm Echo. Definitely not one of the more appealing Echo skins. And it will be free Julio on the Ziggs, so they go for the safe play. And as expected, the person with the Chinese character is going to be on the most mechanically demanding champion on their team. Just seems like that's the archetype of champion they like to play.
They've also chosen to go for the Ignite to try and win their lane even harder as well, rather than going for the Flash. It would be safer for them. The enemy doesn't have too much CC for them to worry about. It's mostly only that Ari Charm that is going to be a threat to them this game. And they can still dodge that with the E if it is available.
Teleport Ignite, a very popular summoner spell combo on Camille. Of course, the main criticism is, hey, what are you going to do if you get ganked? And, you know, in a 3v3, the answer is, I'm not going to get ganked because there's no jungler. So maybe that was the thought process behind the setup.
Also has Grasp, so we'll be able to get some decent amount of health within this game.
Taking a look at the runes here.
Again.
Yeah, I'll get it up in a second. Looks like the Mbessa has gone for the Shield Bash rune over Demolish. So again, we've been seeing these better players looking for more of the laning setup. The Echo does have the Demolish, though. Of course, Echo, you can build Lichbane, start taking down turrets extremely quickly. On the other side, Shield Bash for the Volibear, Demolish for the Ziggs, and Shield Bash for the Camille. So only one Demolish per team. Looks like our matchups will be Echo versus Ziggs in the mid lane, and Mbessa versus Volibear in the top lane. And as I was about to say Ari and Camille in the bot lane, looks like Camille is going for a reset, but she cancels it, so we will have Ari versus Camille in the bot lane. What do you think about these matchups?
As I said in draft, I'm not sure if the Camille is actually the best. Now, you do see the Ziggs and the Camille recommit to the recall. It will mean they're actually a bit late to the lane, especially this Ziggs. The recall is very late for the Ziggs. Could be fine, but it might lose out on just a couple of minions here, which isn't what you want to start the lane instantly.
Yeah, Bone's been pretty solid this tournament so far, but you have to question, can the Platinum top laner really survive against the Grandmaster Decimate? We've seen Decimate pretty much get like 5 or 6 solo kills in every single lane phase he's participated in. A big point of emphasis for MgmaCHEESE will be, can they stalemate that lane? Can they make it through the early game and survive until they get to some of those mid-game skirmishes?
You'd also much prefer to have this Camille in the side lane on that longer lane, especially into the Echo. It's probably the best matchup you're going to get, but in this shorter lane, it means Echo can just push in these waves and has much less of a room to get run down, potentially. It also means the Ziggs is much more exposed in this bottom lane and has to stay much further away from the wave and potentially could lose out on a little bit more XP. You already see Decimate get to level 2 and instantly puts in a nice trade into Bone. Bo might have to be forced to use a lot more mana in this matchup than in most other series he's played. And against the mana-less champion, that's going to be a lot of benefit towards Decimate pushing in these waves.
Now, funny to see is that DJ Chu maybe has a little bit of the solo queue mentality, placed the ward on the Raptors with his prio, so yeah, not really sure how much use that's going to be when there's no jungle to track. But also interesting to note is that TTV Emilya have refused to change their lane strategy. Decimate has always gone top, DJ Chu always going mid, and Spiketrax always going bottom, so you know, I would say...
He comes out of the Echo.
Yeah, I would say if you are Freljord, you're going to be pretty happy with that. If you are going to have that silver player on your team, it's nice that you get to lane against the diamond jungler, who perhaps doesn't have the greatest laning experience.
Might just getting in the Q chunks every so often with the longer range. Nice charms coming out from Spiketrax consistently onto Freljord. Freljord also really low on mana. Might look to get this one final wave, but afterwards might have to look for back before any dive threat comes in.
And interestingly, the Camille does seem to be having decent control over this mid lane. I'm wondering if there could be an angle for the Camille to potentially shove in this wave and roam topside. If they can get one kill for the Volibear against this Ambessa, it would do wonders for trying to stall out the lane.
We have seen many Volibears fall behind and still have value in this tournament, so not going to be too worried unless this Volibear falls extremely far behind. Already looking to take his first recall of the game. But interestingly, Freljord does decide to stay even though the wave is freezing in his favor.
Decimate going to look to hard shove the wave to force Volibear to TP. We'll have to see. Will Decimate TP back, or will he walk? I suspect that, basing on the cannon wave, he could walk back to lane if he wanted. There's also the angle of just TP back, because then you'll get your TP back one more time before lane phase ends, and it looks like that's the angle that he will take.
You see Freljord now decide to take his back. Let's get the wave pushed towards the Ahri, but the Ahri may now just decide to set up a freeze directly in front of her turret, which I mean the Ziggs is very overextended to even get any of the CS now.
We're going to see Bone go for a little bit of a more aggressive trade against the Ambessa here.
Until the Ambessa gets ult, the extended trade should favor the Volibear, but after ult is acquired, Ambessa does get that extra lifesteal, so only for now are you only going to get away with the extended trades.
Also, Decimate been doing a very good job at spacing around the Volibear W, not allowing Volibear to get any of that additional healing.
It's interesting to see that the Ahri did decide to push the wave into the Ziggs. Could have just set up a freeze and take away all the XP away from him.
Maybe the lack of laning experience showing right now, just stuck in the world of hard push the wave over and over again and wait for something to happen.
Level 6 does come out for Decimate. Just get tagged with the slow, then won't look for the dive on this wave.
Yeah, I could see the angle that Bone wanted to take there. If the Ambessa stuck around too long, could have gone for the Q flash to stun her under turret, maybe go for the all-in. But Decimate, a little too smart for that, backed up at the right moment.
And the Camille also was on the roam, so if Decimate got stuck behind the turret and had to take the long way around, might have been picked off as well.
Ooh, nice little W from Freljord. Almost got the Ahri under turret. That could have been pretty bad. It could have maybe forced out the Ahri ult. Speaking of the Ahri ult, Bonevoid will use it, but will miss the charm.
And we see the Echo and Decimate go for Void Grubs here. They've already got a lot of pushing power this game, and picking these up will get them their first progression to the feats of strength and give them more power pressure as well.
So it looks like Volibear and Camille maybe not wanting to let them go, thinking about the 2v2.
Bone does find the Ambessa, but it is very far away from the Camille. It's going to take a while to get here. Bone's going to go down potentially before the Camille can properly take this fight. Not even Camille in a 1v2. Decimate and Echo have plenty of dashes to keep up, and that's a double kill going over TTV Emilya.
Yeah, that's about the last thing that you want if you're MgmaCHEESE. You don't want to give the team who has the much better ranks the early lead. This is where they're going to start snowballing it out of proportion. We'll have to see if they have any kind of answer.
Essentially, the Volibear felt pressure to try and cut off the exits so that the Camille could actually get to the fight. But by doing so, ends up committing to the fight way too early, it overextends, and gives a 1v2 split fight on multiple occasions to TTV Emilya.
And I mean, like, even if that fight does start on even terms, I don't even know if it's necessarily a fight that MgmaCHEESE would have won, because the Echo having the ultimate, I think, would have been the most valuable ultimate in that 2v2 skirmish. So.
We are slowly seeing a 2k gold lead acquired through top and bot lane farm, and now like 2 kills going on to the Echo. This Echo is now accelerated ahead of this Camille in lane, and that was the most even lane of the game so far, so it's crucial that the kills go on to the Echo.
We can already see lead starting to come through. Decimate has more than a full level lead. It says 8 to 7 now, but Decimate did hit level 8 while Bone was still level 6, so big XP difference in the top lane, going to be tough for the Volibear to keep up.
He does hit the charm and has ult back available, so might look to pressure for some nice trades before getting a wave towards the turret. You're taking a bad trade on by the Echo, but it does return a little bit of damage with that Grasp proc. But now the Echo should be able to just catch this Camille away from the turret. One hit goes down. Oh, it's only just going to delay, and the Echo finds a solo kill onto the Camille.
And Camille also having no teleport. Echo could look to try to take a plate or two with the power of the Void Grubs. Could also look to just take one plate and reset. We'll have to see what the angle is.
And Bessa does get a nice chunk onto Bone, but the CC denies any true commitment to a dive. Bone does have ult available, and the ult misses from Decimate. That should mean that Bone is able to survive and collect this next wave as well. But Decimate actually ends up flashing in on it. The ult comes out from Bone, which does force Decimate to flash away as well. But now with the wave gone, and Bessa gets stunned at the turret, which keeps Bone alive yet again. The CC keeps coming in at the very perfect time there. Keeps him alive, but is forced to take a recall, but does have TP to get back into lane very quickly.
You're gonna be pretty happy with that if you're Decimate. I would imagine you can just back TP back in to match the Volibear's TP, and this time the Volibear having no ultimate. If you want to go for another dive, there would be no way to really survive this time.
Charm misses from the Ari. Nearly gets the all-in trade. Frigillo's stuck on low mana in lane and gets caught out. Doesn't lose flash though.
Yeah, the Embessa with the completed Eclipse going to be borderline impossible to trade with now. And the Echo roaming up, going for the dive. If they get this dive off, this is going to be a disaster.
And this wave is there perfectly on
no
time.
Wall, this is guaranteed.
The wall is away. The TP does come out, but it's already too late. The kill goes down. Rio's now just going to be stuck under this turret as well. Echo has ult as well, so they could go for it, but they choose just to go away and go for the Void Grubs.
3.5k gold lead for TTV Emilya. Going on 6 Void Grubs. They have the first blood, so pretty much whenever they wanted, they could pick up that dragon if they want the feats. Most likely, if things keep on going how they're going, they could also just grab that first turret. So, commanding position for TTV Emilya to find themselves in.
And with the Eclipse and Lichbane already gotten at this point in the game, these Void Grubs have just disappeared. 6 Void Grubs now. A turret taking with the Demolish on the Echo will mean that these turrets will have to be protected or fall extremely quickly getting into this point in the game, and Decimate is able to collect pretty much the entire wave. But I need to make sure that he's not overextending here as well. Does get some nice trades, but the ult comes out. Doesn't really do much damage at this point in the game.
All of a sudden, DJ Chu may have to be careful here. Bone not only has flash, but will also have the ultimate soon. Maybe you could look for a play with a flash, stun, and then ult under the turret. We'll have to see.
Echo does take the back before any of that can be thought about for Bone.
Yeah, it does just have the TP. He can safely TP back with full health bar.
Pichu's gonna he's gonna eat in onto the Volibear with Q available and instantly one-shots the remaining health of Bone. He was so low, you might have thought that he would have chose to back as well, just to play it safe at this point. Echo's got 5 kills of Lich Bane, picks up the Dark Seals with 6 stacks as well. Might even choose to go for MgmaCHEESE this game. Camille gets a nice stun onto Decimate, onto Turret, but he's just gonna have to play it safe, especially with such a low health bar now. Decimate has ult available as well. Goes for the ult, hits it, and instantly gets the execution onto Camille.
And with the 6 Void Grubs plus the Lich Bane, his turret also going to look to go down here.
And the Echo has ult available as well, so it's going to get back most of the missing health. Volibear slow does not land. Ult has already been used, so this Echo should be able to just get away. On the bot side of the map, while that trade was ongoing, the Ahri does find the kill onto the Ziggs. Did use ult for it, but that should now also be plates falling from the bot lane turret before they disappear.
Yeah, this game is pretty much wraps. The question now will be how fast are they going to end it? Mid-tier 3 exposed. A reminder that TTV Emilya has not had a single game go past the 18-minute mark. So can they keep that streak up? Can they continue to be the fastest winning team in this tournament?
TTV finds an amazing trade and instantly kills the entire health bar of that Volibear. No ult available, and so that Volibear is squishy at this point in the game without even the first item completed. You do see Ahri go for the Malignant's first item.
Ziggs is just gonna die here.
Just get a nice satchel, but his Echo could choose to die if has ult available. Ziggs is just gonna have to be forced off of this turret. Uses ult to clear the way, but the ult just kills the Ziggs with the clone still being at the turret. Ziggs did not reflect the damage that this Echo has with nearly 2 items complete.
And Decimate does have the TP, so they wanted to commit mid to try to force the issue they could, but it looks like Echo will just reset. They're going to play it slow for now.
We do see some training under the turret from this Ahri, already chunking down Bone. With Echo also coming mid, that might be just their attempt to end the game. This mate seems to be staying in the top lane, but might rotate down to join this Echo. With Camille only coming back up alive, they might just be able to end on the next couple of waves, but it does seem that Mbessa will stay topside and just going to take the Krugs for now.
Even if they don't end, of course, they have the option of that Herald spawning in about 5 seconds now, but looks like Bone will fully commit. Maybe they didn't realize that the Mbessa was coming.
Bone falls down first. Camille gets flash charmed on. The entire team is there to follow up. The Ziggs is now just left on their own, and they won't even have to go for the kill as they have a wave directly in the mid lane for the turret.
Yeah, and Ziggs doesn't even have the ultimate to try to stall. And that will be the end of the game in 16.5 minutes.
Another dominant game, only 16.5 minutes for TTV Emilya. Lane dominance coming out for them yet again. You did see a little bit of an attempt in the early game to neutralize things, but the CS was just slowly growing in top lane and the bot lane, even if with the mid lane going relatively even. But the game got very hyper accelerated going into that mid game.